Okay, we may have some coming in too a little bit later, but all right, you guys. So let me mute everybody too, real quick. Okay, got everybody muted. So if you guys need to unmute yourself, please do so at any time. And tonight, you guys, it was kind of funny today. I was like, wow, what am I going to do tonight for tonight's call? And I just could not think of anything for a while. So Dusty and I visited, and we visited over, some of you guys saw we went to Ruidoso for the retreat this weekend, and there was some really good information we covered and just things that Dusty and I thought about that really made an impact and on a lot of people that were there, and was positive thinking, and thinking matters. So it was kind of something, some of you may heard a little bit of this, but I don't think we can hear it enough, is kind of my opinion, because I know I love to hear it and I need to keep that always going. So it was something I wanted to cover with you guys. And a little bit of this comes from some of the training, because we went through this in that Jules training I went to, which I thought was really neat, because what I have learned through this journey that I never realized before was how much our thinking does matter. And not just in Plexus and our Plexus businesses, but also, you know, just in life general, with our relationships, everything. And this is something that I think needs to be continually worked on. You know, it's just a daily process. So I'm going to go through some of these things with you guys to kind of give you guys some thoughts to think on. And I'm going to look at some of my notes too. So excuse me for looking down part of the time, you guys. But what you think on can change your life and your destiny, and determines how you are perceived. So a big thing is 75 to 98% of mental, physical, and behavioral illnesses come from toxic thinking. So that's 75 to 98% of illnesses can come from toxic thinking. That's huge. That's huge percentages. So there is this book that some of you have read and some of you are reading, but it's What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. And this is by Shad Helmstetter. And it's a phenomenal book, you guys. If you have not read it yet, it's a good little, just a good little read. Really powerful. It kind of helps teach you what you say. Let me mute you guys real quick. We got somebody that, you can bear with me, you guys. Okay. Got one that's not, but anyways, you guys, I have just learned so much about what you put into your mind and thinking, you know, affects your daily lives. And I don't know if you guys realize this, but at training, this was crazy to me. The average person has 30,000 thoughts per day. 30,000 thoughts per day on average. They asked us, how many thoughts do you think you have per day? Some were like 20 thoughts, you know, 30 thoughts, 10 thoughts. That was like the average of what we thought. But it has been scientifically proven that we have 30,000 thoughts a day. So I thought that was pretty big. So the most important thing you can do, I think, is start your day off with positive thinking. Something that motivates you in the morning. Whether, you know, everybody has something different that motivates you in the morning. Listening to something motivational, you know, music, whatever it is. Your affirmations are huge, you know, first thing in the morning, I think. But that just starts your day off right. When you can every morning implement that positive thinking first thing in the morning, I think is going to pretty much tell you how the rest of your day goes. So negative thinking releases toxins, and positive thinking releases endorphins, as most of us know. So I don't know if you guys saw that quote, and let me see if I can find it, that I posted on the team call the team page this morning, but it was where, oh shoot, you guys, I had it right here. Most of you guys saw it, but it was on the, Of course I can't find it when I needed it, you guys. Negative people need drama like oxygen. Stay positive, it'll take their breath away. That was one thing that, a quote that was at training, and we all just fell in love with that quote. I was like, that is so perfect, because most of us know negative people, negativity feeds a lot quicker than positive people. So when we hear something negative, it seems like more people feed off of that, and that becomes in our thinking for the rest of the day, and just it's how our day goes. So some things that we were taught is to think about the 4 to 5 people that you associate with every day. Write down those 4 to 5 people that you spend most of your time with. And just kind of analyze that and think, you know, are they positive people? Are they negative people? Because sometimes, and I'm not telling you guys, you know, don't spend time with those people, but it's something you got to take a really hard look at. And if they are negative, it's probably a good thing to maybe think about spending less time in that area, because they do affect the way your day goes and your thinking and everything. Your thoughts equals your belief equals your feelings, and your feelings equals your actions, all of that. So it pretty much controls everything. Those thoughts direct and control everything you do, everything that comes your way. So a lot of times you have something negative in the day that comes up, and then you have maybe a family member that calls you and you're already negative. The best advice we got is to just step back, kind of calm down, step back, you know, don't respond, think about that. Some good things that I learned that I do myself is you want to go out, you can call a friend. I call Dusty a lot of times because we can have a good, fun, great conversation. And if I am like having any negative thoughts or just a bad day, I can call Dusty and we can have, or several of you too, and we can have a great conversation for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and it completely turns my day around. It's that positive, you know, friend, and you're not even talking about what's going on. It's just talk good things about the day or whatever. A 15-minute walk, even a power nap is another good thing that I know some of us need an excuse to take a power nap. And so I'm giving you that excuse to take a power nap. But that's another good thing when you've kind of got those negative feelings coming in and negative people around you. Get away from that. Find those positive people and spend more time with those positive people. I know Mandy and I had this conversation one day, and I thought it was awesome because she just wanted positivity around her for the day. And, you know, she was like, I don't want anything negative on the news. I don't want anything negative around me. And that is one huge thing that is so bad that goes along with this is programming can come from parents, brothers, sisters, teachers, and the 6 o'clock news. And I really believe the news is something that is so negative. I'm not telling you guys to not watch the news. It's something I prefer not to do because I know when I call my grandma, she sits and watches the news all the time, and bless my grandma's heart. But when I call her, all it is negativity of what is going on. Because as we know, the news feeds off of negativity. So sometimes you can sit down and watch the news and boy, it puts you in a bad mood. I know it does me. So, so the longer you have a thought, the truer it becomes and the easier it is to access that thought. So here's an example. You keep saying all day, you say, man, I am clumsy. My mom always called me clumsy. Well, you're probably going to continue to be clumsy because you keep saying that. So you got to reprogram your mind. And I think, you guys, it's like on average, it's like 20 times you have to say something before you can start to reprogram your mind. So a lot of times, like, it goes back to, you know, maybe your parents, brothers, sisters, you know, whoever programs something into your mind that's negative about you. And it takes you a long time to say that positive back into your brain, to reprogram your brain. I am not clumsy. And so it's interesting. In this book I read a lot, and in this, at when we continue to say that. And I have done this, you guys. When I started learning this and read this book, I was like, oh my gosh, that is so me on some things, because I will say that always happens to me, you know, and that's not super negative, but it is, because when you turn that around, probably good things are going to start happening. And it's just those little things that make a big impact. So one good thing is to stop doing that and think about that. Think about that when you're saying something negative to yourself. You know, that always happens to me. Change it around. It stops today. You know, I'm no longer going to be clumsy. And I guarantee you're probably, after a while, because it takes a long time to get that reprogrammed, you're probably not going to be clumsy anymore, because your mind thinks that, and that's what you're telling your brain. So it doesn't know any better. So you're doing what you're telling your mind. And that's how powerful, as most of us know, our thinking can be. So you have a choice. You got to change those thoughts to change your life. And reprogramming can come from who and what you listen to, just like we said, you know, whether it's the news or whatever, you know, maybe it's different friends or you know, even another TV show. Doesn't have to be the news. That is where the reprogramming comes from. So think about that with whatever you're listening to or people that you're around. What you read, it's another big thing. What you read is huge. That is something most of you guys know. I never read prior to Plexus. I was horrible, you guys. I never picked up a book and didn't have time for it, didn't want to make time for it. And now I'm like, I can imagine not reading books and these personal development books. And it doesn't have to be personal development, but something that makes you happy, that gets you good thoughts, and that just fuels your body and your mind with positivity. And of course, your self-talk and affirmations. Most of you know how powerful I am now on affirmations after I experienced how those affirmations had an effect on me personally. And doing them, putting them on your mirror, writing them every day, and reading them out loud every day is so powerful. So you guys know I've talked about those several times. That's a big thing of reprogramming. So a lot of us too, you know, like we'll write our affirmations for our business, as far as, you know, I'm going to make it to silver this month. You know, I am helping change lives, you know, different things like that. But also don't forget your affirmations on reprogramming your thinking for other things too. And I think those are things that we really need to work on, because all of that plays a role back to our Plexus business as well. So, so there's 7 different things that you can say to yourself to become a positive thinker. One is hello in there, which I thought was funny. But what thoughts will you let in? Are you going to let positive thoughts, or are you going to let negative thoughts in? That is your choice. We have that choice. So decide right now what thoughts you're going to let inside of your brain. If they're negative, kick them out. You guys, don't allow them in. Listen to them. Let them go in one ear and out the other. Don't even let them process in that thinking cap. Just kick them out and replace it with a positive thought. Look up. Look up. There are 4 pillars that make up your overall well-being. Those 4 pillars are emotional. Emotions strengthen us when they line up with the truth. That's pretty powerful. Physical. Our bodies need adequate rest, healthy food, and exercise. And I know for me, you know, I love to be outside. I love to be in the sunshine. I am a sun girl, you know, want to be out with the horses, working in the garden. Just outside fuels my body so much. And so getting outside and, you know, working outside too is a big thing, or whatever you guys like. But make sure you're eating good, you're getting plenty of rest. You know, that all helps us get rid of that negativity. Mental. Our brains need to be challenged. So feed it good information. And a lot of that comes with, you know, reading a good book, reading good quotes, motivational things today, you know, through the day, YouTube videos that are motivational to you, that are positive. The last one is spiritual, which this one is obviously amazing. Feed your soul, spend quiet time, and listen for direction. And I know many of us do that. And it's something to, I say, don't stop doing. But that's a very important one. Those are the 4 pillars to look up and stop and look at that when you're trying to reprogram and be a positive thinker. The other one is the calm down, which I kind of touched on. You only have control over your attitude and how you respond to your circumstances. You are the one who has control. So wasting time on things that are out of your control is a complete waste of time. So calm down, take a break, and think about that. Don't forget, this one was kind of interesting, you guys. I'm going to read this to you. Under the don't forget, it says, beauty can come from ashes. Even the most difficult memories can turn into stepping stones to peace. So a lot of times if we've had things that have went on in our past, you know, different things, don't forget about those because they can turn into peace for us. So I think that's something people try to, you know, we try to forget about, but use those to strengthen you into your positive thinking. The other one is give it a rest. This one's good. This is kind of one of the same things where you divert daily. You know, you can go for a walk. You can call a friend, you know, do anything that empowers you and that you enjoy. Withdraw weekly. Take an entire Sunday off to be with your family. Turn off Facebook, but be present in the moment. That's a big thing. Don't just take off that Sunday, but be present in the moment. That does so much for you. It makes you feel good. And Monday, you're probably, and Sunday too, you're going to have a great positive day, but Monday, you're going to start the week off great with positive thinking. And abandon annually. So take a real break and allow yourself to revive. That's really important to do. Do something. This is a good one. Do something. When you don't know where to start, do something. One little step to turn those feelings into action. So don't just do nothing. You have to do something. And the last one on that is focus out. Find a worthy purpose. Look at what you can provide for others. Of course, we know that, you know, makes us feel so good. Like today, which you guys will probably laugh, but I had to take a dog to the vet in Safford. And so I was so excited because we don't have a Sonic here, but they do where I have the vet. So I got to go get my little Sonic 44 or whatever they call those things with the water and lemons and limes and cherries. Because everybody in Plexus talks about those and I don't get to go get them. So I was so excited. Well, this guy came out and I was like 3 cars back, and he came out to give me my water while they were probably doing food for the other people. And he was the happiest person. He was so upbeat. And I gave him a tip because I just felt, you know what? He is such a great guy. You know, he's happy. He's delivering me my water, you know. And I just felt great about doing that because he was so over the top excited about that, you know. And I'm not saying you guys have to do that, but it's just, it was something neat that made me feel good and made him feel good. And it was just in that moment. And you just drive away really positive. So another thing I started doing, I wanted to share with you guys, and we learned this at training from Melissa Eichenhorst, so I can't take credit for this, but she talked about, we were talking about it at night, when you go to bed at night, and sometimes maybe you're having negative thoughts, or you just have a lot on your mind and you're trying to process, you know, all of your positive, all your negative thoughts. She does what she calls a brain dump. So she got a journal, and every night, some of you guys may do this, I didn't prior to, but it's a great idea. She sits there and she writes down everything, any negative thoughts, anything in her journal, and does a brain dump. And everything she puts in this journal before she lays down and goes to bed. And she says, you know what? It is amazing how that has helped her to just have peace at night when she goes to bed. And she has no problems going to sleep because she's gotten rid of it in that journal. So I went and bought a really cool journal. And it was really flashy, you know, cute, all that. And that's something I'm going to start doing because I thought that was a great idea. Even if it's any thoughts, you guys, it doesn't have to be, you know, negative thoughts, anything you think of. But I think that's one good way to also get rid of the negative thoughts is, you know, dump them in this book and get rid of them. So, let's see. Let me make sure I didn't miss that. Okay. So another thing I wanted to let you guys know, if you want to change your life, begin by changing your words. Start speaking the words of your dreams, of who you want to become, not the words of fear and failure. So I wanted to read this, and I apologize for reading this to you guys, but I wanted to read this to you because it's kind of powerful from our training. This is from an 11th grader at a high school, and this girl, she wrote this poem for a high school poetry contest. And even though the assignment required the students to focus on the worst day ever, she decided to focus on the good that inherited in the bad. And so this is just, I'm going to read it to you really quick. Today was the absolute worst day ever. And don't try to convince me that. There's something good in every day. Because when you take a closer look, the world is a pretty evil place. Even if some goodness does shine through once in a while, satisfaction and happiness don't last. And it's not true that it's all in the mind and heart, because true happiness can be obtained only if one's surroundings are good. It's not true that good exists. I'm sure you can agree that the reality creates my attitude. It's all beyond my control. And you'll never in a million years hear me say that today was a good day. And then it says, now read from the bottom to the top. So it's pretty interesting. And you can read it back, and it just shows how she switches it from the negative to the positive. And so it just speaks to the times of life when a positive outlook can make such a difference. And from an 11th grader writing that, I just thought it was super, super powerful. But are there any questions, you guys, on that? Just because I kind of wanted to talk about, and see if you guys have any suggestions, anything you want to share on what helps you guys, can help anybody else on this team that you guys do, that helps you with positive thinking, things that you listen to in the morning, or, if you read your Bible in the morning, or anything like that you guys do, you want to share with us to kind of give anybody some ideas. Motivational quotes, where you get those, anything like that. Does anybody have any they want to share? Oh, perfect. And Deborah has, I'll read this while you guys are, we have a calendar with little sayings on it. Your emotions and thoughts are always accompanied by biochemical reactions in your body, which create your state of health over time. Just thought I would share. Thank you, Deborah. And that is so, so true. Thank you for sharing that. Anybody else have anything they want to share on what you guys do? Edith.
Yes, ma'am. How did you know I was on? Does
I
it show
did.
you? You were just looking because you thought she's not going to keep her mouth shut.
No, I love it. I'm glad you interact. Thank you. I love it, Edith.
I had a very wise woman one time tell me that I needed to find my happy place.
Totally.
And she means and meant the world to me. And when I would lay down at night and my head was going a million miles an hour and I was worried about my kids, and I had one kid that, holy crap, he was a holy terror. And she just told me, when you lay down at night, you have to quit thinking about all of the things that can happen to him in the day. You have to stop. You have to go to your happy place, find a happy place and go there. And then that way you can rest. You get all of the things out of your mind from that day so that you can get some sleep and get some rest. Right. And then start the next day over fresh. I'm trying to teach your daughter that right now. She's not getting it, but seriously, it has changed everything for me, because I can almost every night I can put it away. I can basically turn everything off. I find my happy place. So there you go.
Awesome, Edith. Thank you for sharing that, because I love, and that I've heard that from other people, that happy place, you've got to find that, and it's amazing when you do and what impact that can have. So I'm really excited that helps you that much.
And if you want the name of my drug dealer, just call me after all that. Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
You guys all know Edith on the call. Must I say more? Hello, GW. Do you have something for us? Thank you, Miss.
Yeah. I have a little saying, and it's a book. If anybody wants to read it, I think it's
Cool.
an awesome book, and I read at least once a year. And it's my saying. It's what I say all the time, and it's just don't sweat the small stuff, and it's all small stuff. And that's what I live by. We go around life thinking that everything's an emergency and everything is drama. And part of the book talks about take your dramas and make them melodramas, because that's what they really are. I mean, we take things a little bit too serious, making mountains out of molehills, and that book is awesome. So if anybody wants to read the book, it's a great book on perspective, and that's what I live by.
Awesome. Thank you, GW. I wrote that down, and I think you told me that a while ago, and I forgot. I am going to get that book. So thank you for sharing that. That's really good. Anybody else? Marcin.
My thing is up until Ruidoso was John Maxwell. Of course, I'll still listen to John Maxwell every morning, but I got a gift in Ruidoso. 18 of us got a gift actually in Ruidoso, and I have 18 positive affirmations, new affirmations on my mirror now from people that I didn't know and that didn't know me too well, and we just met and we all kind of learned a little bit about each other. And I put them all on my mirror, and those are such a great gift. And I enjoyed reading them this morning, and I'll read them every morning. They just put a big smile on my face. So that's my new one.
Thank you, Marcin, so much. And you made I have goosebumps, made tears come to my eyes again. That was pretty emotional, that deal. And I was hoping somebody would share that, because that was very powerful and an exercise I want to, like we talked about, try to implement with everybody else if we can. So thank you.
Very powerful. I hope we can do it for everybody. Yeah.
Me too. Thank you. Very, very powerful. Awesome. Yes, Miss Mandy.
Hi.
Hello.
Yes, those are awesome. I read those every day throughout the day. He was like, "Are you reading those again?" Yes, I said, "Look what people said about me." Anyways, as I start every day, I say, "Good things are going to happen to me today."
Good.
And I've been trying to get Caleb to say that too, and he doesn't quite get it, but I make him say that before he goes to school, and I say it every morning, and it happens. And even other things happen too, but then I realize that every time a good thing does happen, I'm like, oh, it did happen to me.
It did happen today. That's right. And I think that's awesome, Mandy, because we don't realize our words. It's something I never really learned that much about, how will my words affect me? But wow, do they? When you see how they work by what your words say and how it works throughout the day, just makes you want to go out and do so much more of this. Exactly, what Marcin said, the affirmations and, the books and all of that stuff. So that's a good one, Mandy. That's a really good one. And something that simple that is so easy for you to do every morning. That doesn't take much time, but it makes a huge difference. So thank you, Mandy, for sharing. Appreciate it. Anybody else have? Sandra? Yes, ma'am.
Hey, Jeannie.
Hello.
In addition to the what do you say when you talk to yourself, there's a book that he has out that's 365 days of positive self-talk. So every morning I get up and I read, because it's dated, and I read what it has for self-talk. In addition to that, I kind of have a ritual of a book that I have that is it's also dated, that just has positive quotes from different people. And so every day I do that and I read. So I take a few minutes every morning. I think one of the very first things I learned a long time ago is the minute I get up. Oh, my husband's snoring. I better move to scare all you guys.
That was great. That was classic, Sandra. I love it.
Such is my life. That's why I have the video muted, because that's what happens when you get old. Anyway, a long time ago, somebody told me, the first thing you do is when you put your feet on the floor after you get up in the morning is to thank God that you're here for another day to actually get up out of bed. So it's about being grateful for being here, and starting your day, like Mandy says, with a positive thought always helps. It sets the tone for the entire day and everybody around you.
Absolutely, Sandra. That was perfect. Thank you for that, because I know Scott has said that too. Your feet hit the ground, and thank you that I have another day. So wonderful, Sandra. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Marie.
Hey, Jean.
Yes.
Yes. Here, let me turn the video on so you can actually see me.
Thank you. I would love to see you. Where'd you go? There you are.
There I am.
Good job.
No, I just wanted to say something in reference to, growing up, people say, your tongue is very powerful, watch what you say. But that's normally where it's always stopped, not necessarily saying, this is how you should be speaking to yourself. More focus was on how to speak to others, but never no focus on the return to yourself. So coming to Fluxus has not only been a blessing for health and whatnot with helping others and myself, but just learning to know how to treat myself. And this weekend, oh my gosh, I'm not going to cry.
I know.
It was very, very powerful. And that exercise that we did, yeah. So Marcin, I have mine. I have an idea of how to do mine, but I haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to share that, we don't get the opportunity to really learn about how to speak to ourselves. So that book that you mentioned earlier, great book.
Good.
So if anybody hasn't read that book, make sure you do.
Thank you. Yeah, and you're right, because it was funny because when I was at the boys' ball game, just before I came here, I was going through a little bit of this stuff, while I was sitting there and I was talking with her about it. And I said, it's something that I never thought about before, was just the whole, and I've always been a pretty positive person, but it was amazing. I told her even more, just learning this and then seeing from the weekend how powerful our thoughts are. And when you start to put this into practice and put those positive thoughts in you and then say those affirmations every day and see the changes, I just wish I could just, tell everybody to do this because it works, So, but thank you, Noreen. Thank you very much. Anybody else have anything? Let's see. Sarah, Cloud, do you have something? Or Jane, either one of you are unmuted.
Yeah, I had, I got conditioned on the 90-day challenge that we did. I got conditioned to listen to something positive every morning. So it was really awesome because that 90 days really ingrained that. And so every morning I'm searching for something. YouTube has so many great things that we can pull off of their motivational speakers, Plexus training, something. So I'm always starting my day off with that. Also, when you said that the longer you have a thought, the truer it becomes, it reminded me of something that I learned in my last job, that when you say something, your brain does not hear the positive. Like if you say, I am not going to get sick, it doesn't hear that I'm not going to get sick. It hears, it takes the not out of there, which is really weird. So all you're really hearing is, I'm going to get sick. And so the more you say that and focus on that and have a negative word in there, it's going to turn or bite you, which
Wow.
ought to be true. So I've learned to change things around, and instead of saying I'm not going to get sick, I say I am healthy. And I just say it completely positive, and it's changed it a lot.
Love that. Absolutely love that. That was great, Jane. Thank you for sharing that, because it totally makes sense. It really does, because your brain does not know that. So that's wonderful. Thank you, Jane. Sarah Cloud, did you have something for us? She's unmuted, but maybe not.
Yes, can you hear me?
Go ahead, Sarah, you bet.
Okay, yeah, because I'm having audio issues, so had to turn the video off. One thing I've learned, and I've been taught for a long time, your words do have power. Noreen is correct when she brought that up, whether it is something that is thought in your head versus something you speak out loud. You sometimes can speak the negative into existence just because you've spoken it.
Right.
And I've learned through the years, because, we've had a lot of rough years, I can either get up in a bad mood, stomp my feet, whine, complain, and drag everybody in the day with me down, or I can get up and say, yep, there's a challenge today, and put my mind to, we're going to overcome this challenge, we're going to work on it, and we're going to have a good day anyways, and work myself through the day. And sometimes, even when you know that you're in the midst of something that is overwhelming and is going to have a negative effect, it's how you choose to deal with it and look at it and say, this is not going to stop me today. This is not going to bring me down. Then you end up having a more positive outlook even on your bad days.
Right. Exactly, Sarah. Yep. Thank you, Sarah, for sharing that, because you're exactly right. And it is about how, you know, some of these things that I was sharing on ways that they taught us kind of to look back on when we're having a negative day or we're around somebody that's negative. We all are. I mean, there's just no way we can get away from all that negativity, but it's how we handle it. And everybody does something different on how they can channel that negativity back to positive. And I have to laugh because Jane has heard this a couple times over the weekend. Her and I, Marcin was having some negativity going on at one time, and Jane and I were trying to help him. And I loved it because he said he went out and he raked and cleaned their whole yard, and then he went to his mom's house and he did the whole, you know, did his mom's yard and everything. And it was his way of just kind of, you know, that was what he had to do to get out there and get past that. And then he was fine. When he got back home, he was fine, you know, and it wasn't a big deal, but it was just, it was negativity in his mind and things, you know, and so that, I thought that was great, because it's like, you know, sometimes things that I'll do, go find something that you enjoy doing and get your mind completely cleared away from that. And I will tell you guys, for those of you that weren't there in Ruidoso, we did an amazing exercise like Marcin mentioned, and it was people that had been together that a lot of them had not met each other before, had seen each other on Facebook, but got to meet face to face. And Dusty had everybody on a piece of paper. We called out everybody's name. And this was after we had been, you know, building those relationships, getting to know each other better, and just having fun conversations. And then on the piece of paper, we called out the names, and you had to write down, Marcin is an equality that we had noticed about him or that we knew about him. And everybody wrote something on a piece of paper, and there were 18 of us. So then what we did is we divided them up and gave them to each person. So each person had 18 of them, and out loud, we had to say, I am, instead of, because it said Jeannie is or Marcin is, and we had to say I am and read those. And I will tell you, there was 18 not dry eyes during this whole process. It was very powerful. Dusty and I talked about it a little bit more today, and just the impact that that has on somebody, because sometimes we don't realize our qualities and we're negative about ourselves and we're hard on ourselves. That's just the nature of us. We don't give ourselves credit for very much. And when other people see something that is good about us, wow, it was so, so powerful. And there was a lot of tears, I will tell you guys. And it was very, it was amazing. It was amazing to see what people think of other people and what that impact has, you know, on you. So that is kind of my other thing, kind of like Noreen was saying too, you know, it helps somebody so much to share that with them. So if you see a good quality about somebody, you know, let them know that. Send them a message, you know, call them, whatever, text them, whatever you do, and let them know, you know. Mandy, I think you're, you know, an amazing leader, and, you know, whatever qualities, you just tell them, let them know that, because what it does for them, it's pretty amazing. So, and it's something, like I said, we want to try to do with everybody, but in that setting, it was very emotional. So, and I got home with mine last night, and I was so excited. I got them out and I read them all to Scott. You know, I have goosebumps right now just thinking about it again, but, you know, rereading them and just, wow. So make a point to do that, you guys. And you know, your teammates, your downlines, you know, your sidelines, anything you notice about them, let them know that. I really want to try to implement that more. So good. Awesome, Deborah. So anyways, anybody else have anything they want to share? that they do, or any other comments?
I do.
Okay. Please, Miss Annette.
Okay, so I was feeling a little bit sorry for myself this weekend because I couldn't go. And so I actually listened to a call that Lori Harrison did. And one of the things that stood out to me, and I think it's because I was really searching, is that she was talking about a little skit that she had seen, and that, you know, one guy had played you know, just a regular guy, and the other guy played God. And so one guy was, you know, praying and saying, Lord, you know, kind of how we do, thank you for the day, and thank, and praising, and asking for certain things, you know, how we ask for favor and different things, and we end our prayer in Jesus' name, thank you, you know, amen. And he walks away. And the other part of it was that, you know, God said, wait a minute, I had so much more to tell you. I had so many things I wanted to say, but we don't, you know. And so I think what it said to me was, you know, I was missing out on all of that pouring into each other that you guys were able to do. But if I really listened and applied my, you know, what I had just learned, I would listen to, you know, the greatest teacher ever. So I learned that I needed to, that's where I needed to be.
Good. Awesome, Annette. Thank you for sharing that. That's wonderful. Thank you. And I'm glad you found that. I'm glad that the biggest part of that, Annette, is that you stepped up and you went searching for something to help. That was huge of you, and exactly the best thing you could have done. And that was God's way of saying, this is what you need to listen to today, Annette, you know, and everything's fine. So super proud of you for doing that. Good job.
Thank you.
Love it. Love it. Anybody else have anything else on that they want to share? Okay, well, thank you guys for sharing that. And I know GW had a question on compliance and posting. Go ahead, GW.
Yeah, I wasn't at last week's meeting, but I did watch both videos.
Okay.
Couple of questions. One, you know, there have been some ambassadors. I know when you look on the video, you said BNAs are out of there, but I've seen some, you know, Plexus posts where there is a disclaimer on the bottom. Those still we can't do because we're going to have our own disclaimer.
Yeah, there's only a business disclaimer, but there's not a product disclaimer. So. Okay.
The second question is what, because I know there's been some folks sending BNAs to compliance to see if they're good or not. If they give thumbs up to any, is there going to be a place where they're going to have all those that we can grab those? Like, because I looked at the Plexus tools and they still have old BNAs, and I don't know if those are any good anymore. So I want to find out if they're going to place them there if they give the thumbs up to certain BNAs or what.
Plexus probably won't themselves, because that's never been, it's really ran by ambassadors. So that's always what it's been, is that like the Plexus Power Tools is all ran by ambassadors. So if those come compliant approved, there'll probably be a code on them. What they've always done before, they'll put a certain amount of numbers. I don't know yet for sure because I haven't seen any of the compliant ones yet. Mm-hmm. So that's my guess, GW. Yes, before and after, Marilyn, correct. Thank you. I was going to mention that. So what I'm thinking, GW, I know I've seen it posted that they're wanting to start a thread if anything comes through that's been compliant. So we're kind of waiting on that. So I have not seen anything posted in there yet of, you know, compliant before and afters, because I think they're kind of waiting on the before and afters because we do not have that disclaimer. So right now, I don't think very many before and afters are going to get approved right now because we don't have the clinical studies yet, you know, the scientific studies that are going on. Once those become available, plus that disclaimer, then of course we're going to have probably full game to most all before and afters. So,
okay.
Yes.
the last question, there was a before and after I used, maybe a couple of weeks ago, and all I said was that there was the guy at his desk, and all I just said, this is what happens when you're consistent with the products. Didn't say anything. Can you do a B of A like that, or they're just saying still no go on those?
They're saying no before and afters because it's obvious on that one. If he lost a bunch of weight, it's obvious, without even saying. That's what he told us. Those are kind of the fine line ones because, obviously we can't put the ones with any dates, or pounds lost on them until we have those disclaimers. But those are still kind of an iffy, that post is that fine line. So you'll probably be fine, GW, but I'm not compliant. So that's kind of up to you. You know what I mean? I can't really say that is compliant or not. So, but from what I've seen, kind of one of those fine line ones. So that makes sense. I know that's kind of hard. It doesn't really answer the question. I wish I had a straightforward answer. They're trying to get straightforward answers too on it, but just waiting until they really can't because they don't know from the FDA if that's approved or not, so everything's having to go through them. So Plexus is waiting on them to get the information, and it's that process. So yeah.
I just want to try to be creative with the B&As, it's kind of like you don't want to, like you said, there's no more claims, but I'm like, if you just look at that, okay, I just want to make sure that I'm not, don't want to get in trouble. But
no, and I think like the one that I gave the example, Bill, who's on our team, that, he said just took a picture of himself, and I haven't been able to get in these clothes for 3 years, that's great. That's perfect. There's no before and after. Nobody needed to see his before right then. It brings out that curiosity factor. Well, what are you doing, Bill? Why are you in these clothes? That's completely compliant. So that's what I would recommend going, is more creative, building that curiosity factor right now until we get those, disclaimers or further direction from compliance. Because it's not really, you don't have, hey, this is what I look like then and here. And even though it doesn't have the date, that was their main issues with the before and after, because all of them have, poundage on them and dates on them. And so then we're implying that they will lose that amount of weight when they start Plexus in that amount of time or whatever it is. So that's why I said the one you're talking about is kind of that fine line that may totally be fine. I just can't say for sure on that.
Okay.
So does that kind of help, GW, on some of that?
Yeah, and there's no really ETA. I know that you guys are probably chomping at the bit saying, is there any time we're talking to government here? So that might be. And
he is too. Plexus is too. Chris, he said the FDA's been, believe it or not, they've been pretty good at trying to, say, yes, this is acceptable. But it is literally like every single word, that they're having to go through, to make sure it's all compliant. So they want to make sure so that this is a done deal. They're getting it all approved. So yeah. So thank you, GW, for your question. That was a good one. So anyway,
thanks,
you're welcome. Well, thank you guys. Is there anything else anybody has before I let you guys go? Anybody needs? Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for calling in tonight. And I hope that kind of helped. So start in the morning and start with some positive thinking and get up and say it's going to be a good day like Mandy did, and say your affirmations, and go help tell anybody else some good qualities that you run into too. So, all right, you guys, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your evening too.
Thanks, Jamie.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Jane.
Welcome.
Thank you, Jane.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Bye, guys. Love you all.
Bye.
Happy birthday, Marilyn.
Happy birthday, Marilyn. I missed that today.
That's so sweet. I love her.
Happy birthday, Marilyn. See you, Jeannie.
Bye. Thank you.